Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Depending where you are, I'm sure it's some time of the day, and I'm having a cup of tea, because Gladys, the tea lady, stopped by and gave me a lovely cup of tea for this hour of the morning. Anyway, let's get back to some serious work. We're going to be going over to take a look at some product that Chris is going to be working on here in Studio 2 at SIRENNET Television. And Chris, in fact, happens to have a brand new product from Whelen Engineering. It is the 500 V series family of surface mount Lighthead. Chris, take it away.
Thank you, Stuart. The 5V series LED Lighthead from Whelen Engineering, it's a triple purpose product. So with that, you're gaining warning, white illumination for a spot function, and an additional white illumination that's downward cast. As Whelen likes to call it, it's a puddle light function. So it's a series of diodes on the bottom. The Lighthead itself, 5V, stands for 500 series, and the V is for the way the front of the unit is constructed. You can see the front lens itself is beveled out in the center, and on the unit here, it's a little hazy, but that's how Whelen designs the plastic lens and the molding in the top here. It has a V in the center. So a diode set is mounted here, and a diode set is mounted here. So with that, the V gives 180-degree spread of warning light. So well suited for sides, rears, or fronts, anywhere that you can mount them. And with it being a 500 series, nice thing is, it'll fit old footprints. So if you have a 500 series strobe, 500 series halogen, or even 500 series LED heads, maybe a smart 5mm or a TIR6, you could upgrade and switch to the 5V series. The unit itself has a UV resistant polycarbonate one-piece front lens here. And what's a little neat and also a little deceiving is it's set on the front with a pair of screws here. So go ahead, grab the trusty Makita, loosen the front screws out, and with this, you can see, give it a grab here, try and pull it apart. Even if I were to take a small flat tip screwdriver, try to pry the edge apart, Whelen has weather sealed the unit. So the front lens and the polycarbonate black housing here are sealed together. So with that, it's great for it seals up the front, helps keep grit, grime, and excessive moisture from getting in on the lip here. It's got an epoxy gasket finish, and that's what locks the two pieces together. So when Whelen does them on the production line, this lens goes on, the epoxy goes in as well, and once the compound dries, it locks the pieces together. And also with that, the screws on the front, again, when Whelen puts it through production, tighten the screws down so it seats the two parts together so everything spreads and dries nice and evenly there. So really with that, I can go ahead, put the front screws back in. On the back of the Lighthead itself, you can see there's two wiring pigtails. We'll get to those here in a moment. But what I'm going to do is remove the screws that hold the aluminum piece to the black polycarbonate housing. You can also see it has a Gore-Tex breather, so what that does is allow for air travel. The unit itself does have air in here, so it also helps with heat dispersion as well. Heat goes from the diode sets back here and also through the Gore-Tex breather hole. Go ahead, flip it over, change bits here. Now with those removed, the unit comes free. The screws here, because they are on the back of the unit, have a green epoxy which helps seal them into the aluminum heatsink. So here's a better look at the clear lens and the polycarbonate housing. What's also neat with this here is there is another incorporated gasket here in a lip. So when this is reaffixed into the housing here, it seals it down, again, locking out anything from getting inside the head. Just go ahead, push that back down in. After all, it is designed to come out and be put back into place. So with that, it goes right back in as appropriate. Here's a better look at the insides of the unit here. You see the spots is done by 2 units here, 3 diodes on each side, and they are a bit reminiscent of the LR11. So I guess in a way you could call these a shrunk down LR11 spotlight. Diodes on the bottom for the puddle light function. And with the diode arrays on both sides, you can see there's 3 levels, here, here as well, mounted to the aluminum V extrusion. So with this out of the way, give you a better look at the V piece where this gets its name. The light head can be taken down a little bit further, so I'll go ahead, remove these screws here to remove the electronic components from the aluminum heatsink. What's nice with this is all the diodes and all the electronics here, everything is again epoxy sealed inside, so it's been very well put together. Connections have been soldered as appropriate, so it's a good, solid product. It'll last you for many, many years. And again, with these screws here being a lock screw on the back, green epoxy as well. And there we have it. With the other screws removed, the unit itself becomes free. It is on there with the wiring harness, so what I would need to do is give the harnesses a bit of a push to go through the back grommets here. And with that, you can see the extrusion here, the aluminum, which mounts the warning functions and the spot functions, is removed from the heatsink. So again, if I keep pulling the harnesses here and get a little bit more room, and show you the back of the unit here. So you can see all the points where all the electronics connect in and how it's all been very well engineered by the wonderful Whelen Engineering. The harness here go through a grommet. So again, if you need to, you can just go ahead, pop the grommet back through, so your harnesses will be nice and locked into place. Also with that, for your harness inputs, you can see grommets keep condensation, grit, grime from getting into the back of the housing as well. So you can see the puddle lights here. You have a series of 4. Again, 3 on each side of the baby LR11s. That's what I'm going to call them from now on. And then the array of 3 on each side for the warning function. So now that you've seen an inside view, we'll go ahead, put it back together. So I can start here, pull the harnesses back through, alleviate the slack, and I'll go ahead, push my grommets back in as well. They do have an inside lip that has to be tucked in, so just take a little bit of pressure and force it back into the hole. And there we have it. So I can go ahead, put the unit back together. So make sure to realign the screw holes here. They're pre-threaded to go through the back of the housing. Just going to go ahead, start a pair to get it put back together. And now with the 6th and final screw tightened back in, you can see the electronic goodies here resecured to the aluminum heatsink. Nice and put together. You can go ahead, take the lens portion here, slide the internals back in. Go ahead, realign the edges here, and second set of screws will go right back into place to put the 2 pieces back together. And there you have it. Back to one solid piece here. Now before I get into the wiring here, I know you want to see it, I do too. I'm going to quickly show you the mounting options that are available. So down here, series of flanges that go along with the 500 series. We know a lot of folks will have questions about which flanges will fit, what the depth is going to be. If I have these ones already, can I just go ahead and order the Lighthead, or do I need to order new parts for mounting as well? So with that, I'm going to quickly show you. So here you have one of the Whelen 5-flange Cs. It's available in black as well, so a 5-flange B. Go ahead, take the flange. Over the front of the Lighthead it goes. Gasket onto the back here. As you can see, that is what the 5V will look like in the 5-flange. So you can see it's nice and flush. You will have to drill a bit of a hole for the wiring to go through, as this portion will be flush with the body panel or the grille. So just keep that in mind. So nice and flush, as you can see. Full visibility for the puddle light on the bottom. Go ahead and leave the rubber gasket here. The next flange happens to use the same piece. This is the 5TS MAC. The black 5TS MAB as well. This is the version designed initially for the TIR6. I'm going to go ahead and show you how this would fit in if this is what you have or were thinking of selecting. You see the Lighthead fits into place here. Again, nice and flush with the front. Looks nice. On the back, because the Lighthead itself is shallow, it actually leaves a gap in the flange. So when you seal this onto your body mount, the Lighthead itself is actually going to wiggle, so it would push backwards into the body. It's not flush like the shorter flange here, so with that, there's going to be a bit of a spacing issue here. So go ahead, take the front chrome face off, the back gasket as well here. The third flange I happen to have here is the 5 grommet. So designed for a 6-inch cutout, mounts a 500 series Lighthead. Piece itself in here has an incorporated lip. So wiring harnesses would go ahead, drop through. The Lighthead itself and the mounting flange here go ahead, lock into place. So with this, you can use the 5 grommet for your mounting application. So if you already have 6-inch oval lights, maybe strobes, maybe halogens, you're wanting to upgrade to the 5V series, you can go ahead, do that. Or for new applications or different mounting options, the grommet series will work just fine. You can see the Lighthead sits in, it's nice and flush, nice visibility for the warning light. And also from a bottom view, you can see the edge of the grommet doesn't protrude over the down puddle light. So with that, you can grommet mount it and still have all the features functioning just fine for you. So go ahead, take this out of the flange here. Get these out of the way. Now to the fun part. Go ahead, take the trusty 12-volt alligator clips here. The black wire will go to the ground. And the solid red here will go to my 12-volt positive source. Red, as you can clearly see here, available in the additional safety colors as well. It's white, amber, and blue. So you can see with the V, you get great head-on, but also as you get off axis, still a great light output. So nice thing with that, if it's side mounted, you're getting side output as well as visibility to the front and to the rear all at the same time. Nice function with this as well, as you can see, it is quite intense. Has a violet trigger wire here, which is an intensity reduction. So take that, apply it to a steady 12-volt or constant 12-volt source, however you want to call it, reduces the intensity. So with that, high-low or day-night. Take it away, unit jumps back up to full output. With the warning wire taken away from power, we can go ahead and take the other trigger wires, turn on the other functions. With this here, you have the downward puddle light. You can see nice and bright. And it casts at a nice downward angle there. If you go ahead and take the other trigger wire here, 12 volts, it activates the two baby LR11s for the spotlight function. So go ahead, blind out the camera, blind out the crew, move it around here so you can see that it is quite intense. And with that, it is technically and definitely a spot function. As you can see on the background there, it's a nice circular tight beam. So applications where you need to look at things on a low level, extra lights on the front grille, address viewing on bigger applications or small applications, you can get that function with this Lighthead. And also, if you want to, 12 volts to all three trigger wires at the same time will activate all three functions. So with that, you don't just have one function available at one given time. You can run everything together, or you can break up and have the puddle light with the warning, or if you just want full white illumination, team up the puddle light with the baby LR11 spots. So as I mentioned before, the 5V series, it's a triple purpose product, illumination, warning, all in one great unit. New applications, old applications, retrofitting, any case you may have, the 5V series will work great for you. Thanks for watching. Back to you, Stuart.
Oh, gotta finish that first. Well, again, many thanks for watching SIRENNET Television. Hope you enjoyed that very informative piece of information that Chris gave us on the Whelen 500 V series family of lightheads. Surface mounted they are. I'm Stuart, and you've been watching SIRENNET Television.